Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to SpellCast Episode 2. I'm Spellbound, your host.
And I am the co-host, the Powerhead. Hello.
Before we get into the topic of today's episode, I would just like to say that if you enjoy Spellcast, just share it with your friends. We need to build an audience, and this is the best way we can, publicity is the best way that we can do that. So if you do enjoy it, please share it with your friends, families, contacts, whatever, anyone you think might be interested in something of the like. Today's
Just
episode.
spam it.
Yep.
Just spam it in your Facebook feed. Everyone will love it.
Yes. Be cancer.
Be annoying. Be annoying. That annoying little shit everyone wants to block.
Yep. But say good things about us anyway.
Oh yes, just be annoying, but be nice. Be annoying in a nice way.
Yeah,
you know?
Be nice and annoying. People might hate that even more though.
It'll be fine. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
I agree. If spellcasters see it in their mind, they will not forget about it.
Oh yes.
Today's episode is about Diablo 3. Now, last week we have spoken extensively on what we'd like to see change for the next Elder Scrolls, and I guess this is sort of the theme that for now we're going with, like what what we would like to see differently or in a game, right? And
like basically we are analyzing a bunch of games and like going like, what could it be done for them to be better? You know?
Yeah.
Like, because these are not perfect games, right? We all know
far from it.
So we're going. So the idea here is to analyze a game and look at similar games and look at what they're doing and what these games are doing and how can they improve.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing here with Diablo 3.
Yeah, we initially wanted to do Blizzard stuff in general, but that I don't want to go over the 2 hour mark again. We're going to try to keep it maybe 45 minutes or an hour, maybe an hour 30 minutes if we have a lot to say, but an average of an hour. We like to keep the podcast around that length.
Yeah, let's just the only reason why the first episode was like 2 hours was we really just had a lot to say. So we just didn't stop. There is an article on Ludumism.com.
You always have trouble with that name.
I always have trouble with the name. I still need to get it right. There is an extensive article on Ludumism.com that Spellbound wrote about the topics that we discussed in the first episode.
Part of it.
Part of it. It's mostly related to Elder Scrolls. You uploaded the article. It's on combat and
combat and movement
abilities,
yes.
Right?
Combat and movement.
And you're currently working on magic stuff, right?
Yeah. I'm working on magic right now.
So if everyone's interested in in just listening to
seeing I do go into more details about what we talked about in the podcast. If you listen to Spellcast, you will first episode we will talk about these things, but in the article I go much more in depth about some of the things. I get a bit technical too. So
if you don't think a 2 hour episode is enough, there's always part 1 of the article that's up on the site right now. And part 2, the magic, will be up relatively soon. He's still working on it.
Yep.
Editing is hard.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
So
Diablo
with that
3.
said, let's get on the topic. Diablo 3.
Now,
this is actually the perfect time we could be doing this episode because Path of Exile just announced its next expansion.
Oh yeah, it did.
To revamp the entire early to mid game. So this is actually the perfect time for us to be doing an episode on Diablo 3 because Diablo 3 has already announced plans for this year as well. Perfect. Now, they are very different plans than what Path of Exile is doing. When BlizzCon came around last year, everyone thought that we'd be getting a Diablo 3 expansion, but we didn't. All we got was some patch notes some features that they're going to implement, and we got the Necromancer announcement.
Oh, the Necromancer. I am
So
quite excited for the Necromancer.
Let's talk about the Necromancer for a bit, since it's like the biggest content update that they announced at BlizzCon, which I feel is we'll see how it goes. Well,
I'm quite excited for the Necromancer, but there are other things about the game that the Necromancer is not going to fix the problems that currently exist with the game. But I'm still happy they're going to add content anyway.
I am happy that they're going to add another class. I just wish it wasn't just another class. Like, the game does need another class, I suppose. Like, to add a little bit of more variety into it, and I guess that's nice. They still haven't discussed fully what the Necromancer is going to be like. They said that there's a lot of spooky, scary skeletons, and a lot of blood and a lot of gore. Like, it's not supposed to be a happy class like the Witch Doctor, as they said.
Wait, they said that? I mean, I guess the Witch Doctor is a goofy class.
Yeah, because like the comparison was the reason why they didn't add the Necromancer in the first place was because they had the Witch Doctor, which was supposed to be the Necromancer. But they explained in BlizzCon how the Necromancer is a more serious character, and the Witch Doctor is more like a silly character. Like Witch Doctors.
Really? Is that the difference they gave? That's
I might be paraphrasing a bit.
Okay.
But the idea there is that the Witch Doctor is like this fun, goofy guy who throws spiders at people, and the Necromancer is just like this very serious, dark, brooding character. Like, come on, he explodes bodies, he summons the dead, and there's like spooky effects and skeletons everywhere. Ooh. Like,
isn't the difference, the main difference between the Necromancer and the Witch Doctor is that the Necromancer can actually control, to an extent, his summons. You can tell the skeletons go attack there.
Yeah, I think there was. I think the ability does do that. It's a passive where you summon skeletons, and then the active is that you send them to attack something. I believe they show some abilities. They're probably up on the Diablo 3 site.
Have they shown what resources he uses yet?
He uses something similar to mana. It's I think it's something similar to mana. I'm not sure.
I thought they would have gone like full Blood Mage with him.
Like generating resource and then spending it like Fury.
No, like he uses health to cast.
Oh, like he uses health. I don't think they do that.
Something like that, like a resource that if you deplete that, it taps into your health. Something like that. I don't know.
That would be interesting, but I really don't think that would work in Diablo 3.
Probably not. Probably not.
The way that the combat works,
especially if you get like management. You get range poked with the skeleton.
Yeah, because come on, there are in the higher difficulties you just get one shot by everything. You need
all the health you can get.
The tactic there just becomes you kill them before they kill you. Sort of thing. But I'm excited to see how the Necromancer works out because I think Diablo 3 does need the variety. But definitely. I do believe that it needs more variety than that.
Yes.
Because there are a bunch of choices that Blizzard did while developing Diablo 3 that many people don't like. I don't find them to be that let's call them limiting, I guess would be a good word for it. But but still, I can understand how this pisses people off. And having then played Path of Exile, I can understand where people are coming from with the lack of choice. Because here's the thing: people were in Diablo 2, right? You only had 2 buttons. You know?
And you could press W to switch weapons, but
yes, and you press W to switch weapons.
4 buttons at the most.
Yeah, so it's like 4 buttons at the most. You could bind some abilities to the function keys.
I actually bind them to Z, X, C, and so on.
Oh,
it was faster for me.
Right. I think I used function keys. I never finished Diablo 2 actually. Come to think of it, but I do. Oh, please don't please don't hit. But I did
well, you
play
were halfway across the ocean, so.
Well, But I did play it.
Yes.
But I did play it, and I remember using the function keys to switch abilities. But you could still only use two keys. But you had but you could switch in the middle of combat.
The things that you had your right click and your left click, and you could switch what spells were in those. Or
those
bound
two
to
keys.
those, so if you go like Z, your right click is Z, and if you go like X, then your right click becomes X, sort of like that.
Now in Diablo 3 you have the whole skill bar thing, right? And this feels, and at first you look at it and it feels great. Because like when I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, this is such a major improvement from Diablo 2, holy shit. Here's the problem though. And I'm going to be and I'm like, in Path of Exile, which I believe like is
the comparisons
like
are inevitable.
They're inevitable, and especially now, like in Path of Exile, you can only equip like I believe it goes from Q to T, and then you have middle mouse button, left mouse button, and right mouse button. So you have like 6, 7, 8, 9. You have like 9 hotkeys in Path of Exile. But that doesn't mean you can't have more skills activated.
Okay, yeah.
Like, so here's the thing. In Diablo 3, there are a bunch of passives, right?
Yes.
But these, they have an active skill and a passive skill. Like, the monk is the perfect example for this with the mantras.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of mantras, and like you equip them on the skill bar, and like you equip them, and it stays there, and it generates a passive, and it has an active effect which boosts the passive, which consumes resource. Like, this is how most abilities work. Like, there are resource generating skills, there are resource spending skills.
Yes.
This is how Diablo 3 works, but this doesn't allow for much choice, like in your skills, because you're like you're gonna need a resource generating skill always, and you're always going to need a resource spender. This is how the combat is made. But for the passives, and what's weird is, like, for the passive skills, like the mantras, like, you can't just equip them, activate them, and equip something else. You can do that in Path of Exile. You are allowed. Now, you could argue, but Path of Exile does it differently. Path of Exile, the passives in Path of Exile consume mana. Like, they lock your mana.
It's like sustained spells in Dragon Age.
In Dragon Age, exactly. That's the perfect example.
So all the passives are like that?
All the passives in Path of Exile are like that. They call the auras like that they use, like the fire damage in your attacks, frost damage in your attacks, defensive auras like increased life, increased shield, and yes, there is a shield in Path of Exile. All of that locks your mana, and it restricts you a bit, but it's like you build around it, you know. Come on, there are builds that use like 5% of their mana, but they can keep it because the build revolves around not around mana regeneration and mana leech over damage and all that. I, for example, use an earthquake build on a marauder. Like, I use 2 auras, this leaves me with almost no mana. But as long as I hit things, I'm not going to run out of mana.
Yeah.
But in Diablo 3, they don't allow you to do this. They because it takes space, so you can't really use many different builds with this, because you want to equip. You're playing a mage. You use something like frost armor. This is essential. Everyone uses frost armor.
I mean,
this is because
there are builds without that, but
there are builds without that. But most top builds use frost armor.
Yes.
And it always takes up space, and this leaves you without use. This leaves you with
So the way they do it, the way they do it is that they just limit the maximum number of abilities you can have at a time, which is it's restrictive. It's
very restrictive, because the combat is supposed to be fluid in Diablo 3, and I'll give it that. It's much more fluid than Path of Exile.
Yeah, Blizzard excel at making responsive combat. They are really, really good at that.
yeah, gameplay with Blizzard is like they're good at it. They know
they're
they're
really
good at
good.
it.
Yeah.
And like the combat in Diablo 3 feels a bit better than Path of Exile because it's more proactive, it's not as clunky. Like when you whirlwind in Diablo 3, you just aim with the mouse and you just go whirlwinding around where your mouse is pointing. In something like Path of Exile, you click for whirlwind and you just walk to where you clicked and then he stops and you can't stop him in the middle of it. So like it's a bit more it's not as bad as it sounds, but it's a bit more responsive in Diablo 3.
Yeah.
And like the combat is supposed to be fluid and all that, and you can see how, especially in like preview builds that they had in the game, like the combat was very fluid and responsive. Like I remember the BlizzCon 2009, 8 when they announced Diablo 3 for the first time. Like that even that build, which is an old build, like they revamped the game. Like I remember an interview, they revamped the game like 4 times before they got it to where it was at launch. Even that build, the combat felt very good, and I dare even say it felt better then than it feels now. Yeah, because like the sound sounded so much better. The way that the characters moved, the way that the ambience and like the blood and like the crunching sound, like they showed off them a barbarian, and like when you leap slammed and landed on something, you could feel the crunch of things, right?
Yeah.
And in these days the game in these days in the game, yet the leap slam doesn't feel impactful. It feels like a thump instead of being like a smash, like you're smashing the ground and like people exploding all around you. But it feels more like a thump than a crunch now. It's weird how they did that, but the fluidity of the combat is all nice and well, but limiting the amount of things you can do in combat has the disadvantage of like you're not going to be able to pick to have much choice with that. So it's like they limit you a lot in Diablo 3, and that hurts, and that ends up hurting the end game a lot because everybody just is just uses the same build.
Yeah, those few like cookie cutter combinations that everybody's just using this specific one because
yes, like
the variety is very limited.
There is absolutely no barbarian in the end game that does not use Furious Charge. There isn't. It's the best skill. It's the best skill for the end game, especially because of the set. Because it's like builds skills in Diablo 3 I'm sorry, have those runes
that modify them.
That modify them a bit. I don't think they're like too crazy sometimes. Like there are some.
If you look at Arcane Orb for the wizard, the Arcane Orb is basically she shoots out like a projectile that explodes on impact.
Right.
If there's a rune that you can equip that makes it's no longer a projectile, it becomes like a shield, like 4 tiny arcane orbs orbit around the wizard, and any enemy that comes into contact with that, the orb detonates then. So it changes the way the spell behaves itself.
Yeah.
Sort of like, and you have like a frost ray or whatever. What's it called? Is it frost ray? The ice beam. There's a rune that can make it turn into like an AOE circular, like like a semisphere of ice that just expands around the wizard.
Yeah.
So some runes can change the nature of an ability considerably. But this is something else that could actually make Diablo 3 more interesting. We do need more skill slots, right? But
yes.
If you consider the runes, it would be cool if you could equip one ability multiple times on the skill slot. So if you want to have
with different runes,
if you want to have like a black hole with the fire rune that turn into Blazar, you can have that in one slot. But you can also have a different black hole in another slot that is Singularity, the large AoE one that deals lightning damage.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
you can tell that I
see.
play a lot of Blizzard. I love Wizard. But
Yes.
the
Isn't that like the only class you play?
Yes. So I do play other classes, but I disproportionately play Wizard, which is ironic because she is one of the hardest classes. Not hardest, but like she requires the most micro to play at the higher
Yes.
levels.
Yeah.
Also, I'm told like
Definitely.
I don't play really high
Oh,
level,
definitely.
but people
Well,
who do say she requires the most amount of micro. I should probably just make a Crusader with Thor's of the Invoker and just run around and let the enemy die by hitting me. Just
don't
the
do that.
lazy
That's
mode
boring.
farm. Yeah, but sometimes you do want a lazy mode.
Okay, I'm glad you talked about this. So that would be an interesting idea to revitalize the content, the combat, like having multiple abilities with different, having the same ability with different runes.
Yeah, just before you go on, the only problem I see with this is that they would they share the same cooldown or would they have different
they would
cooldowns?
The way that Diablo 3 combat works, I believe they should probably share cooldown.
Yeah.
Although, because like imagine just popping two black holes in the same place at the same time with different runes. I don't think that's.
Although, doesn't Path of Exile allow you to do some like insane combinations like that?
Yes, but Path of Exile, like, here's the thing: Path of Exile has runes, quote unquote, in the form of support gems. Like,
they modify an
all
ability directly.
Yeah, like all abilities are in gems that you equip in your gear, and these gems have links to other gem sockets, right?
Right.
And you can equip support gems that are linked to an ability. So it's like you're using Fireball. This is a starter skill, Fireball. Now imagine you equip Fireball with the multiple projectile support rune gem.
Yeah.
And like so one fireball turns into 3 fireballs.
Yeah, I do remember that one.
And now you equip, and now with this you equip the slower projectiles fireball. So it's like, so you have 2 support gems in one ability gem. So like you send out 3 fireballs that bounce on the ground and then explode, right? With the slower projectile, what happens is it's 3 of them, but like it's almost like they stack. Like it becomes a wave of fireballs walking towards your target. So you start like with one fireball. You equip a gem, they become 3. You equip another one, and they became a wave of fireballs. Like
yeah.
There are a bunch of others of other support gems.
I've seen some videos of some Path of Exile builds that are completely insane. A guy was like teleporting and shooting ice and fire, and he was just like teleporting through a level, and just everything was wilting around him. It was kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, that's probably like a teleport skill or something with like cast on ability support or something, linked to like some ice spells or fire spells or whatever. So basically every time he teleports, he's also casting the other gems that he has equipped linked to that. So like just imagine the customization in that. There are hundreds of skill gems in Path of Exile, thousands. Imagine the possible mutations, and they're like, this is and they're all balanced pretty well. There are some builds that are definitely better than others, but this is the reason why there is no such thing as a better build in Path of Exile.
Because
like when you go to the forums in Path of Exile, there are a bunch of builds that people have made. There are hundreds, thousands of different builds that all work differently. And it's like, hey guys, I want to make a build for this character. Like, what's the best build? Well, you see, that depends.
So, and then 3 hours later,
And that's so very good when you're a new player and you come up to the forums and you ask people what's the best build for this character. When you get an answer like, well, that depends. That just means that the game like
Yeah, it doesn't
is
have the cookie
balanced,
cutter
and it
builds.
doesn't. Yeah, and it doesn't have like
The
it doesn't
go-to,
have
you
a
have
direct
to do
answer.
that or that
Yes,
if you want to win.
and that's so very good because most builds, like unless you really fuck up with your build, which you can in Path of Exile, that is a problem that they have. This is
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Like unless you fuck up really hard with your build,
Hmm.
which you shouldn't if you're following a guide or just if you have a bit of brain, that's fine.
Damn.
Like you will be able to do like the entire end game of Path of Exile. Like
Huh.
maybe some builds require a little bit more time into them
Hmm.
for the gear and the skills and the passives and whatnot. But like as you don't really screw up your build that much, you are able to do the whole of the end game, like all the way to the like
Yeah, yeah.
to
That
the end
reminds
of
me
it.
of
Like you finish the game, really.
yeah, that reminds me of
In
oh, did you have more
oh
to
sorry,
add?
in Diablo 3, you can't do that because it's like, okay, so what's the best build? You go to the leaderboards, then you immediately see that's the best build, and that's the build that everyone is using in the entire fucking leaderboard.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, and it's the only build that works. You know this because
Firebird
like
Archon.
Firebird Archon, it's the perfect example for it. Like it's the build that every single wizard uses to get to do the end game.
Yep.
And it's like they use it because it works well together, and like it allows people to go to ridiculous sites. Like they go to, I think the record for season right now should be at 100 something.
It's over like
No
115 for the wizard. I think the wizard is the most successful. Oh, for the
Yeah, it
season.
is because
Okay.
yeah, for the
Greater
season
Rifts.
should be at
Right. Yeah.
100. For non-season should be at about, I think the record was 120 something. I
Yeah.
think for wizard.
Wizard. Yeah.
And of course they all use Firebird Archons because it's the build that works best. And like there's no question about that.
Yeah.
And if you try to do this with some other build, like Talrasha's set, you're not going to be able to. There is no way.
Yeah.
Like even if you invest all, like, even if you invest like 200 hours into a build or more, like even if you get the items are perfectly rolled, like top stats, everything
Primal
is
Ancient.
ancient. Like, oh, we'll get on that in a moment.
Yeah.
Don't even remind me that exists. Let's.
Well, apparently it's gotten better now, but since the last thing they said, but
maybe.
yeah.
But like you can't do that with other builds, and that's just, I don't know. It feels like they're not, because they're not balanced enough around the end game that they have.
Or maybe they just
Like they're not.
Going back to the gem thing. Since Blizzard, Diablo 3 already has runes. I was having a conversation with our dear friend Shadowing. Can we say his real name?
What?
Can we say his real name? It sounds a bit weird to refer to him Shadowing. Never mind. Irrelevant. I was having a conversation with him. And most of, like, a disclaimer, most of the ideas I'm going to put forward today, most of them are his. Because he plays a significant amount of Diablo, a significant amount more than I do, and he's had more time to consider these things than I did. He suggested rune stacking. So instead of, like, there are some unique items that do that already, like what is it, Chantodo? No, Chantodo does something different. Via gives you all runes for the Archon.
Yes.
So when you transform into Archon, you have all the runes already. He suggested to, instead of giving you like just topaz gems or emeralds and stuff like that, why don't the game just adds runes, just actual runes that drop, then you can socket into your items that
like Diablo 2 did.
Yeah, sort of, but this one, instead of giving you, plus 10% to damage or whatever, or even, like, I'm not even talking about rune words here. I'm talking about when you socket that into your item, they give a set ability that rune.
Right.
So let's say if you have magic missile, you have the rune that gives it split shot, right? You when you have your wizard, you use the charge blast rune, but you socket this one rune that gives it split shot. So without having to so your magic missile, whatever you do, will always split shot. But you have the charge rune, so it does that already. It has split shot plus charge rune. Now, if you have a third rune, you can add that gives it seeker missile. You can have super powered magic missiles with all these runes. And if you have a mirror ball, you can actually make a mirror ball like a viable late game item now, because it isn't. And to me, the mirror ball is such a fun item to have.
Yeah.
But you can't use a magic missile wizard. But if you had rune stacking, that would just allow you to be completely crazy with your abilities. That would make the game so much more fun.
It would, but let me ask you something. Like, if you equip a rune, like you can equip multiple runes, right? What would happen to the rune system that they have now, where you select the rune into an ability?
I mean, it's the same thing as with the unique items, right? If you have Archon, you have Via's set, and it gives you Archon all runes. So regardless of the rune that you pick, it won't matter. It will always apply these runes.
Okay.
So let's say you have all runes on Magic Missile. Kind of a waste, but have all runes on Magic Missile. You can whatever rune or non-rune you add, or like if you pick Magic Missile without any runes, you're still gonna have all the runes. Now, how you specify what spell is gonna get that rune? I guess maybe if you pick up this specific rune, it's like gives Magic Missile that rune, right? It's specific to the spell, and it specifies what rune. So you can have more stuff, and maybe the runes themselves will have a specific socket point and not necessarily use a gem socket. I don't know, just
yeah.
It feels like it would it might. I guess it wouldn't, right, weaken your character, because the gems are sort of like a little top up to your character's strength. The real strength of your character comes from the set, the unique items, the legendaries. Slightly less so the perfect square gem, whatever that's.
The flawless royals.
Yes, flawless royals. I always keep forgetting what they are.
Yeah, the perfect ones. Like they just had like 280, 220 of main stat. Some people use like resistance runes and all that, but most people just go for main stat.
Oh, cooldown reduction. That one's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's for the helmet. That's many builds use that as well. But like, that would be like a great idea actually. But many runes would need to be remade. Like some runes are just not interesting at all.
I agree.
Some runes change an ability so much that I don't think you'd be able to stack runes with that. Disintegrate, for example, there is a rune where like disintegrate just becomes like that shotgun effect.
Oh,
like instead of being like a beam, it just turns into a small arc in front of you.
Like fiery tendrils just shoot out in front of you.
Yeah. That's an interesting rune because it completely changes the way the spell works. But like you can't really stack that with something else because most of the runes are less.
I'm just gonna pull out a meme here. Why not have both?
Why not have both?
So imagine you have Chaos Nexus. So you have all the runes on Disintegrate. When you fire, you have your fiery tendrils and a giant and two like beams shooting out that become stronger over time and apply fire damage and arcane damage and whatever. Make it crazy. I don't know if it's like if this like balanced suicide. Probably is, but it's like you said, like Path of Exile has no cookie cutter build because they are just almost a limitless amount of possibilities, at least limitless, where human brains are concerned.
Well, yeah.
So maybe this is what Diablo 3 needs to make it more interesting, more fresh, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely. Okay. I can see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a great idea, I think.
I mean, they did it
Like,
already
because
with the Kanai's cube, sort of,
sort of
because
like
you can stack unique items, quote unquote stack with a
well,
cube.
you can't really stack. It's just like you have 3 more but not equipped. Like
Yes,
um
just the effect of the unique item.
yeah, because it's like
I mean,
Kanai's
that
cube was a
already
very
was a very that already adding Kanai's cube just made the game so much more interesting to me.
yeah, it did make the game more interesting,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is, like, at the end of the day, when you look at it now, it was just power creep. And the
Mm,
reason why they added Kanai's cube was because they later like added more just more difficulties to the game. So
yeah.
it was just more power creep as you look at it. But it was a nice idea, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was executed well because because some legendaries are just better than others, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Especially that
And
legendary,
like,
like
it,
this
yeah.
one finds your death humorous. Like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, that would
What
come
is
on.
this? And
There is
wasn't
one.
one that just clucked like a hen?
There was one that just clucked. There was the another one that just turned your voice into the butcher's voice. There are a bunch of ones that make absolutely no sense at all.
Yeah.
So it's like, so at the end of the day, it was just more power creep because people are just. It's like you're freeing a socket in your gear, right?
Hmm.
It's like you are using a legendary, but it's not equipped. That's the whole idea of it, you know.
Yes, but I think the appeal for me there is that you're you're not just adding a gem, you're adding a unique modifier to your character. And to me, this the synergy, the mix and match, just makes it opens up the possibilities, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, yes, that's true. That did allow for more, for a bit more choice
Hmm.
and
The
possibilities to
fundamental
build.
problems remain, though. This did not fix the problem. This is just it was sort of like
Yeah,
a little patch on the problem, but
yeah, it's a little band aid
band-aid. Yes,
on
I
it,
also
you
get that
know,
bloody word.
because like, that's because at the end of the day, you still have the same problem. Like
Hmm.
there isn't enough variety for those types of choices.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's like you added the ability to stack more legendary items, but at the end of the day, there are still legendaries that are better than others, and people are still going to use the same ones.
Hmm. Speaking of legendary, Path of Exile has flasks.
Yes, it has
And this I
flasks
thought
that
was
you equip.
very interesting, and you could actually enchant them to have multiple effects and stuff like that. Diablo has legendary potions that are, you know, kind of
Don't do
worthless.
anything.
Yeah, they're just like
everyone everyone just uses the one that regens more health
yeah,
because all other
yeah,
effects are completely worthless.
yeah. So uh, following Path of Exile's ideas, it would be cool if it, first of all, give us more potion slots,
Hmm.
right? And by that same, while we're on more potion slots, give us just swappable hot bars, sort of. I
Yeah,
guess that's an MMO thing when you can just swap.
yeah, kind of like World of Warcraft, where you just
Yeah,
switch skill bars or
yeah.
something. Yeah,
Again, side tangent again. Side tangent in a side tangent. This is Inception. Cue the loud blaring noise. Um, if you go on the article for Elder Scrolls that I wrote, there is I photoshopped an example of what I would like to sort of like a hotbar UI to look like in Skyrim, right? You had and you have like 5 hotbars with you can sort of cycle through the different hotbars that you set up, and I think something similar could actually help with Diablo 3 if you don't want to make a UI that spans one
mm,
side of the screen to the next, right?
well, yeah.
So this would actually help with having multiple skills, and you cast frost armor, then you change your hotbar and cast something else.
I see.
It's sort of
Yeah.
quality of life improvement for me, at least. I think this is
Yeah,
quality of
so
life.
you could have you basically end up with 2 different rotations in
Yeah,
skill bars,
or more. You can
and you
rotate.
switch or more, and you switch. There need to be a way to easily switch through them.
Yeah, so it's sort of like let's say you have 4 hotbars. You just press something like the G key, and it goes to bar 2. So you have like a linked list like A, B, C, D. You're on A,
Right.
you press G, go on B. You're on B, you press G, go on C, and so on, go on D. And when you're on D,
Yeah.
you press G, you go back to A.
Right.
It
Okay.
cycles through them, and I mean, don't get crazy with like 15 hotbars. It's just gonna make yourself go insane. But we're not gonna need all these skills anyway. Like 4 hotbars already sounds a bit crazy. Maybe 2 or 3 at most.
Right.
So 15 skills, let's say.
Okay.
Wait, is it 15? I think it's 6. Don't we have 6 plus right to left click?
We have 6 plus the left click. No, we have 1,
4
2, 3, 4,
plus
and
the
then
right
we
to left
have
click.
right and left. So we have 6.
Right. So maybe you could like in the options select like if I press G, I swap only my 4 skills, or I should swap this plus the left and right click.
Yeah.
You can actually
Okay.
custom. Blizzard's good at all this option customization. I mean, look at StarCraft 2. The level of customization in there is pretty great, especially with regards to hotkeys and stuff. But to go back to my initial position of potions, give us like maybe 4 potion slots, like you had 4 or 5 potions, like you had Diablo 2. Then we have the legendary potions. What if you had a potion that doesn't increase your health or resource, but it removes it decreases your ability cooldown by like 50%, right?
Right.
Or
Okay.
it
So
increases
basically,
your overall damage by 50% or something like that. It doesn't necessarily boost your health, but it boosts something about you.
so potions that don't even affect your health, they just reduce cooldown, they increase damage, they
increase resource regeneration, for instance.
they
Like
increase
if you
resource generation.
use that
They
on a
increase
barbarian, when they hit, instead of restoring like 8 fury or however the hell,
restore
whatever the
20.
amount. Yeah, there you go. It restores like twice as much as 16 or something.
All right. All right.
You know?
All right. That's that, and they don't even heal you.
Yeah,
Right?
you don't have to heal you. So
Yeah. Okay.
you have your healing potion, you have your cooldown potion, you have your shield potion, for instance. If you're having trouble, if you're like a glass cannon, you can have a shield potion instead like you drink it before going to combat, soak up some damage, and maybe if you take damage, then you can drink your health potion. But it's like preemptive healing, sort of. But if you're very tanky, but you need more damage, instead of a shield potion, you can have a damage potion, right? You deal like 50% more damage for 10 seconds or something like that.
Okay. Okay.
So
basically, like mini pylons that you get in the rifts, like in your hand.
Yes. Oh, holy shit! Yes. Drink a potion and it gives you conduit, like you shoot yellow lightning at people.
Yeah.
That might be a bit too overpowered, but
maybe. But
it's
let's not it make last too much. Like they still have like 60 seconds cooldown or something.
Yes, but if you're gonna unlock things like stackable runes and more skill slots, I mean, that doesn't sound that overpowered anymore, does it?
Yeah.
If you didn't have if you don't have all the changes that we suggested earlier, then this would be part of a cookie cutter build. Like you must get that legendary potion.
Yeah.
Right, but
everyone just uses the regen health legendary potion, and like because it's just more healing. Like it's the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So better potions, increased variety. That's a good idea as well.
Yep.
That's a good idea as well.
But I mean, still on combat. Just the final point. What like we made a list. We made a list, right?
Oh yeah.
And the last on that list is dodging. Now, consoles have dodging in like an inbuilt mechanic. I don't know how effective that is.
It's very effective because
apparently people say the console version is just more fun.
Yes, it is more fun.
Which blows my fucking mind because Blizzard is so good at PC games.
Yeah, it's true.
And they just made a better console version.
You ever played? Well, you ever played God of War?
I have not, but I have seen people play it.
Do you know how the dodge works there?
No, actually, I imagine it's similar to most like Devil May Cry and stuff like that.
Because it's like not even that. Like,
oh really?
It's a bit more simpler because like you have the two analog sticks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you move with the left, and it's the right one that you dodge.
Oh, interesting.
Like the direction where you tilt the right stick
is the direction you dodge in.
Is the direction you dodge in, and this works really well because it's instant.
I see. So if you're moving forward, you just push the one backwards and you dodge
moving forward, but yes, exactly. Like it's not like where you're moving. It's not like any sort of like it's not bound by your movement and all that. Like you can even do it in the middle of an attack. So you just tilt the direction where you want to dodge and you dodge.
Yeah. Okay.
This is how Diablo 3 on consoles. Yeah, this is how Diablo 3 on consoles does it.
Ah. Oh damn.
Yeah, you know, because it's like there's an attack coming this way, and you tilt it backwards, and you go backwards. And you go, and you always go to the direction where you tilt the controller.
Yeah.
This works so well for Diablo 3. Like it's really. It's great. It's really great, and every class can do this. Not just melee classes. Every single class has this dodge mechanic. But on the PC, if you want to dodge, you need to use a skill.
Yes, you're just a specific displacement skill, like teleport, leap, all these things.
Teleport, leap, the horse for the crusader.
But okay, here's for the monk. Here's the idea, an idea. Like again, our dear friendling, the characters already have a dodging, quote unquote mechanic with these abilities. What if we made this like, well, what if for like an update or the next Diablo or whatever, these skills are part of a specific dodging category. So you have your dodging key and you tell the game how to dodge. So for example, if you have a wizard, you can tell the game use teleport to dodge. So if I dodge, just teleport to that direction. But let's say I don't want to use teleport, she will dodge using a different technique. Maybe she just like phases out of the way, like sort of the Asari in Mass Effect 3. Or she just rolls. I mean,
roll.
Well, they're all athletic people. Like, let's not pretend.
That's true.
So yeah, well, yes, okay. I shouldn't say what I'm about to say because it's probably racist.
It's fine. Just
I was just like, maybe not the witch doctor, but no, he may not look particularly athletic, but he is. It's
all for show. It's all for show.
No, I mean, even if it doesn't look very athletic, these those type of people can like could like break you at endurance.
Yes, of course.
But yeah,
come on. But yeah, that would be a good use. Like instead of just depending on cooldowns, you actually depend on the reaction time.
Yeah, cooldowns need to go away for something like that. This has been my biggest axe to grind, I guess, with Diablo 3. The cooldown on the teleport for the wizard drives me insane. I cannot have a wizard without the Aether Walker one, because it removes the cooldown on teleport, and it is so goddamn annoying. I remember playing Diablo 2 with the sorceress, and it sort of ruined the other classes for me, because I was either sorceress or assassin, right? Because assassin had burst of speed, which made her move super fast. And the sorceress could just teleport like a lunatic all over the place, and it made progressing through the levels really, really easy, really fun for me. And I can't play anything else then, because assassin I just like flash through the entire place. It's really fun, and the sorcerer I just teleport. I have no bar, nothing can stop me, and just teleport frozen orb, teleport frozen orb, teleport frozen orb. It was really fun. So it's yeah. I want effective dodging instead of having like range, like a skeleton just start the swing animation. You move out of the way, but you get hit anyway. This is just no. Stop that.
Yeah, it will be much better if it's just based on
Character skill. No, you play a skill.
character skill. Yeah, it would be much better
Instead of
that
just
way.
stats.
Yes, instead of just, of course, it would work much better. Like it works on consoles. Why would it not work for the PC?
Yeah, exactly.
That makes no sense. Like, why did they do it on consoles in the first place?
Yeah, they're basically two different games now.
Yeah, they are basically two different games, and the console version seems like a much better version, even.
Blizzard.
It's weird. Like,
yeah, it is. It's really weird.
And it's like, I wish I had a console to play Diablo 3 on consoles, because
I would just like
a
to
much better game just because of that.
Yeah, I would just like to sort of see how it plays. I don't think I would like. I don't particularly enjoy playing on consoles anyway.
Well,
So yeah, I don't think Diablo 3, even maybe if they implement all the changes that we've mentioned so far, maybe I will consider then, but not enough to make me. Right. So before we continue, we have a bunch of topics left. Let's go to a quick break, and then we'll be right back, I guess.
we'll be right back, my friends.
Welcome back to SpellCast. We've just had a short little break. It was a few seconds for you, as usual. Well, it wasn't like that in episode 1, but
The power of editing.
yeah, magic. Ooh.
That Spellbound is going to have. It's going to be fun.
Very appropriate that the guy with the name Spellbound is going to do the magic.
Ooh.
Get it? Oh, okay.
Abracadabra! I
Yes.
cut this
I'm notorious
content.
for my shitty ones. But anyway, we were talking about combat. We covered that thing extensively. We should just move on to the next topic, which is loot and.
Yes. Before we get to loot, a quick summary on how we feel about the combat. It feels nice. It gets boring. Could use a bit of a facelift.
Yes, a little bit of excitement. Right now, it's
pretty much that's our views on the combat. Just for a quick summary, if you weren't really paying attention, which you must really like the sound of our voices.
Oh yeah.
So moving on.
Moving on to loot. Loot and it's how do you call that? It's this little black sheep of the family called RNG.
Yeah, it's also the perfect time to be discussing about loot, since they announced the next patch for Diablo 3.
Yes. Oh my god.
Do you know what the next patch for Diablo 3 is gonna be?
Ancients.
Press the button now. Wow, Ancients is like feels appropriate as a name. Now, if you haven't played Diablo 3, here's how loot works. Right? You get a legendary. You identify it, and the legendary has some stats. These stats are randomly generated from a predetermined minimum and a maximum. All right? So, like, here's the thing. You want the stats to roll as high as you can, right? Not that high. Calm down. Stop smoking that. But you do want them to go high. You always want the most main stat. If you're rolling for something like critical hit chance or critical hit damage, you also want the highest, because they boost your damage by a lot.
Yeah.
Now, Diablo has this system where when you identify a legendary item, I'm using the Path of Exile lingo. I need to stop playing that game. When you identify a legendary, sometimes you have a 10% chance, and this is fixed. There is no way to control this. You have a 10% chance of that item to roll as an ancient. Now, what are ancients? Well, ancients are items that you remember the maximum rolls I was talking about? Well, ancients go beyond that. Like, their minimum roll is always highest than the maximum roll of a legendary.
Yeah.
Right? So here's the thing. The end game right now, you look at the leaderboards and everyone has their ancient items.
Yeah, because of course ancients can also apply to set items, which are technically legendaries.
Which are also technically legendaries.
Yes.
So everyone just uses ancient items, right?
Yep.
Which is pretty insane when you think that there's only a 10% chance of them to roll as an ancient. But let's not discuss what people do in their free time. So in this patch, they're going to add what they call a primal ancient. Now, the idea here was like whenever an item rolled as an ancient, it could roll as a primal ancient, where it would roll with even higher rolls than ancients.
Didn't they make it so that it rolls with the Okay, you're gonna get that. Okay.
They did change it because that sounded stupid. Because that was the most retarded shit you could have in RNG based loot.
It was RNG on top of RNG.
Yeah, it would end up being RNG on top of RNG. It would be a 1% chance to get the primal agent. That is insanely retarded, and I'm glad they fixed that. Now, here's the thing. Did they really fix it? I don't think they did. Well, not entirely. Here's the thing. Now, since
I was scolded by it, I think, for not thinking so. That they...
Well, he has a point. He has a point in one thing. They sort of fixed it, but here's the thing. Primal Age, since Blizzard has this thing called the public test realms, people started to realize that primal agents are fucking retarded, and with good reason. When you get a 1% chance for the item to be the absolute best, that's not really saying much about your skill in getting loot, right? So they decided to change it a bit.
Primal they removed Magic Find, right?
They removed Magic Find. It still exists, but you can only increase it by increasing the size of your party, and it no longer affects legendary drops.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Moot point. They made that. Yeah, they made that change in Reaper of Souls in the expansion.
Okay.
So here's the thing: how Primal Ancients work now. You will need to get to rank 70 in the Greater Rift. So basically, you need to complete in time a Greater Rift of level 70. If you don't know what the Greater Rift is, it's basically solo. If you don't know if you haven't played Diablo 3, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Basically, imagine like Diablo 3 has difficulties. The Greater Rift level 70 is like I would say 6 difficulties above the maximum difficulty, and the maximum difficulty is pretty hard already.
Yeah, it's pretty
hard. So you basically need to climb. It's you need to climb the ladder a bit, quote unquote.
Yeah. Greater Rifts are like maps, are like randomized spawnable levels that you can create with a. You do something called a rift, a Nephilim rift. At the end of the Nephilim rift, you kill a boss. The end basically is when you kill enough mobs that the boss appears. When you kill that boss, you get a keystone. I think it's called keystone. A Greater Rift keystone, right? And with that keystone, you can open a Greater Rift. Now, the Greater Rift is different from Nephilim Rift in that you can customize its difficulty. Just like how I told you, like level 70 is sort of like 6 difficulties above the highest in-game difficulty that you can have. So it's endless. You can just keep increasing.
You just go and go and go. Like the record right now for 4 players is like 180 or something. So it's like it's never ending, really.
Yes.
So here's the thing: you will need to have done in time, so no bullshit, a Greater Rift level 70, and you will then unlock Primal Ancients for the entire spectrum of seasonal or non-seasonal, depending on where you complete that Greater Rift.
Yes. So there are 3 sort of different let's say realities. I call them.
Yes.
You have your normal reality where you sort of play the game. Usually, when you start, you play the game. You have seasonal, which is all characters that have the seasonal marker will coexist in that reality. So they will share items between their stash,
Technically,
right?
you have 4 realities.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's hardcore, which is another, and seasonal hardcore.
There's non-season, hardcore, seasonal, and seasonal hardcore.
Yes. So 4 realities. That's true.
So basically 4 realities.
So
if you ever played Path of Exile, this is exactly how leagues work there.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, so don't you worry about that. It's exactly how leagues work.
Okay.
So you should know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, basically, seasonal characters cannot coexist with non-seasonal characters. Hardcore characters cannot coexist with non-hardcore characters. The same applies to seasonal hardcore.
So if we take for example, Kanai's Cube, right? If you are in a seasonal character and you stuff a unique item in the cube, it's all characters that are seasonal will have access to that.
Yeah.
Characters that are hardcore seasonal or non-seasonal will not have access to that unless you've made them, in that reality. But and characters in the season will have access to all the items inside the stash for that season. So there is coexistence there, but only for characters within that reality. We're sort of,
exactly.
I think we're over-explaining that a little bit.
Let's
just move on.
In a bit. But as I was saying, they changed Primal Ancients. They now work like this. You need to unlock them to the Greater Rift, and then here's how they work. They no longer give you stats above Ancient. What they do now is they are perfect Ancients. They roll with the maximum stats that Ancients allow.
Yes.
Now, this is a fix because it doesn't add, while still adding more RNG to the entire loot system, it does it in a way where you're not, like, as soon as you get a Primal Ancient, you're not going to replace that with anything. It's perfect.
So okay? I guess, does it still have this percentage over the percentage to become primal?
Unfortunately, yes. And that's, I think, the problem that they still have with it.
So it's possible that you can get an Ancient that rolls with perfect scores, but it's not primal.
Yes, but it's not primal, exactly.
Primal just guarantees the highest score.
Primal is just a guaranteed perfect item. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. There is no way you're going to replace that ever. It's perfect. It has guaranteed perfect rolls. You will if you're going to use that item, you are never going to replace it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's still a 1% chance to get it because it's an Ancient item that needs to roll Ancient. It's a 10% chance on top of a 10% chance. It's a 1% chance of you getting a Primal Ancient. And even though, it's sort of a fix because you're not going to try to roll for more. As soon as you get one, you're just going to keep it forever. But it's still a fucking 1% chance. Do you know how low that fucking is?
Yeah, as someone who's been playing a lot of Binding of Isaac lately, RNG is... My god, if RNG was a person, he'd be dead.
Even if you use a pseudo RNG system where your chances increase over time, exponentially, even then, it's ridiculous. You would need to roll so many legendaries for you to get even to 10%.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and
if
and
RNG,
it doesn't do well to the longevity of the game and to the health of the game.
Yeah. If RNG was a person, I think he'd be more hated than Hitler.
Oh, definitely.
Because
Holy
my
shit,
god, especially if you play games like XCOM or...
especially if you play games like XCOM. Oh my, I hated that fucking thing. Jesus Christ. Don't even fucking remind me of that. Jesus. I love XCOM, especially XCOM 2, but holy fucking shit, man. Holy fucking shit. That fucking hit system. Let's...
Yeah. XCOM's a different topic.
XCOM's a different topic. Don't... Yeah, you're triggering me right
now. So, Loot, Ancients, Primal Ancients. Is there anything else about Loot?
Now, Loot is not varied enough, I believe. That's a problem that they have because the gear is not balanced. I don't think the builds are balanced. We discussed this on the combat when we talked about the combat. Many skills aren't balanced, many set items aren't balanced, and that hurts the loot a lot. Because like even if you score a legendary, most of the time it's like it's worthless most of the time.
Are there set items in Path of Exile?
No.
Ah. Do you think set items are a problem?
You see, if there were more set items, I would say no. I don't think there are enough set items in the game to...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think there are enough set items in the game. Because it's like, every class has like 4 sets?
Yeah.
Let me think. Wizard. You have Talrashas, you have Veers, you have Dalceres, you have Firebirds, and that's it.
Wait, is it really? Oh yes.
There are 4 builds for Wizard.
Oh my god, that's true. I never realized there were that few.
Because if you want to get to the end game in Diablo, you're going to need a set. There's no excuse.
Oh, you know why? Because they still have so limited stash space.
Yeah.
My stash is completely fucking overflowing. And I don't even play that much. My stash is completely full. I can't buy. There are no new stash space to buy. It's ridiculous. Like this is why this is why I have the illusion that there are so many items in the game because.
Well, they are going to fix that. I don't think.
Yeah. They did say they were going to add
the armory. Yeah. They're going to add the armory.
Oh, the armory
feature.
Well, the armory is not gonna. Armory is like.
Do you still need to have? Do you still need to have those stuff with you on your inventory or in your stash?
I don't actually know. Is the armory just like a setup, or does it actually like you need to actually equip the armory with those items and then it comes onto your character?
Yeah, I don't remember actually.
It comes onto your character.
I think you don't need to have them. You just need to put them on the armory. I think
it would be good if you could just put them onto the armory like equipment set, and it just frees up space in your stash. That would help a lot.
Well, they are going to free up space. They're going to turn materials for crafting into currency, so you don't need to have them in your stash anymore. They're just in your account.
Oh,
like gold,
nice.
Like gold.
Neat. That's really cool.
So you're going to have a lot more space. But I think items. I don't. No. Armory. Yeah, it's just right here. Like you need to have the items with you.
Remember when there was like a normal difficulty crafting a material, then inferno difficulty crafting?
Oh god, no.
And then eventually,
I'm glad they removed.
Yeah, they got rid of that, and they just keep getting rid of it because it's just so annoying.
Yeah, because like people are running out of space. Finally, after like some years, people are finally running out of space. So that's why they're doing it, and I think that's good on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to builds. There are 4 wizard builds, man. There's not enough. There aren't enough items. Like Path of Exile. Like here's the perfect example. Patch 2.4.2, right? The previous patch.
For Path of Exile?
Added. No. For Diablo 3.
Oh, okay.
They added 3 legendaries.
Yeah.
Fucking 3 legendaries.
Yeah.
At the same time, Path of Exile was having a patch. Do you know how many fucking legendaries they added?
I'm sure it's more than 3.
50.
Oh my god.
50 legendaries.
Blizzard is notorious about that.
With this?
Blizzard is just. This is Blizzard, right? If you look at StarCraft 2, like this is another podcast, but there was in the pro scene there was this combo of Broodlords and was it Infestors? Broodlord Infestor. This was
remind me what the Broodlords were.
They shoot like little animals at the enemy, and
the flying fucking bats that shoot their children. Yeah.
Great description. Best description.
Well.
But so there was a combo of this that was just plaguing the competitive scene. It took them like over a year to patch this out.
Oh man.
Blizzard is just so slow at these things, and whenever they do something, they barely give you anything. Look at the Nova missions. I'm not.
Oh yeah.
The Nova missions, they add like...
I heard people didn't like those because they were very short and added nothing to the campaign at all.
Yeah, they add like 3 missions. Like if we paid God damn it, Blizzard.
$15
for all
like
3, yeah.
For all 3 packs.
Yes, and it's 9 missions.
And each pack had like 2 or 3 missions.
3 missions.
Something like that.
Each of them had 3, but it's the missions were not like you could complete them in a day. I'm not saying they
were trying to do that episodic thing that some games do.
Yeah,
now,
but it takes too long between each episode.
It took them for fucking ever. Like most episodic games, like Telltales or like even this hit that like the new
Hitman, yeah.
Like it took them like what, a couple of months to release an episode.
Wait, Telltale actually. Well, I think now they do it faster, but The Walking
Telltale
Dead,
does it monthly. The first season they took for fucking ever.
Yeah, it took forever.
But the Game of Thrones as well. But Game of Thrones, they were busy with other projects.
Yeah.
I think that like for Walking Dead season 2, you just had there was an episode like a month and a half in.
Huh. Interesting.
Like
I know Minecraft they did it quite fast.
Yeah, but Minecraft, the game plays itself, and they just and like Mojang. I don't know. I just say Mojang. And Mojang just paid them like billions to make it, so
yeah.
That's
No, but I'm just talking about the frequency, right? They didn't take too long.
They did, yeah, like sometimes they did, but they're usually busy with other projects. Like Walking Dead season 2 was like a month and a half every episode, and they alternated it with The Wolf Among Us.
Oh, okay.
And like so they released it regularly. They released content regularly.
Yeah. Blizzard can't do that.
Pace. Blizzard doesn't do that.
Yeah, Blizzard,
because it's like
there is such a thing as taking too long.
There is such
and
a thing
Blizzard
as
is the exemplar of that.
Yeah.
And when they do release something, the only instance where they release a lot of content is with an expansion set.
Yeah.
Right. But these are few and far between, and like it you can't do that anymore. This might have worked back in the day with Warcraft 3, like you release a patch and there's one neutral hero and people would just lose their shit completely. Oh my god, Firelord, they added a new fucking neutral hero in a patch, right? But
hey,
it can't work. It doesn't work anymore.
You know where Blizzard releases a good amount of content every now and again?
Stuff with microtransaction. Heroes of the Storm.
No, Heroes of the Storm.
Yes, yeah, microtransaction. There
yes, there you go. Like Heroes of the Storm, like they recently just released a new champion, Lucio from Overwatch into Heroes of the Storm. Like not even like what, a month ago they released a hero, Valera.
Wasn't even a month ago. It seems like so close.
A month ago. It was like what, a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Like, cause like holy fucking shit. Like that they release a lot of content for Heroes of the Storm. And
do they do that for World of Warcraft as well? Do they release content frequently?
Now, depends on the expansion. Now, yes. But I think they fixed a bit the problem. Like in Legion, there is a lot of content now, but some of it is repeatable. There is still much more content than what there was in Warlords of Draenor. And even Mists of Pandaria, for that matter. But they're like, but they did add a lot of content in World of Warcraft now.
Yeah. So I guess bottom line is Blizzard just more content.
Yeah, we need more content for Diablo. There's not enough variety in the loot, and like, and there aren't enough builds because of it. Like the whole combat being limited thing. The main reason why that happens is not because of the skill bars and that we talked, although those additions would be nice, but it's the loot. There are 4 builds for each class, and only one of them actually works in the end game.
Yep.
which is always the one people use.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Speaking of the end game.
Yes. Speaking of the end game.
Blizzard, when the expansion was announced, when the expansion was released, there was talk about them adding seasons to the game. Like they would work exactly like Path of Exile seasons or any other seasonal game that exists. Like you would start fresh, level your character to 70, and see how far you would get in the end game, right? Now, it used to be that Blizzard would actually add content each season, like any other game did.
Oh yeah.
But they started saying, over time, they started saying like, what we want is to reach a balance where seasons just happen automatically without us having to do anything.
Oh.
And this happened a couple of patches ago. Like they're adding this patch that's coming. That's just quality of life stuff. It's the Primal Ancients and the Armory. That's it. There's nothing else in this patch.
Yeah.
Maybe a few bug fixes and some minor tweaks.
I remember the first season that was out. They added like new transmogs. Didn't they add like new legendaries too?
They added many new legendaries. They revamped others. They revamped some runes and some skills.
And then
they added the seasonal transmogs thing.
Yeah.
They added all that. Season 2, they did the same thing. Season 3, Season 4. Season 4 was the highest point for seasons. Like that was the best.
Which one are we on right now?
We are on Season 9.
Oh, okay.
We are on Season 9.
Because I feel like the seasons just stopped adding anything.
They did. They stopped adding content to seasons at about Season 6. 7. No, 6. Yeah, 6 was when they added the latest difficulties, and then they stopped. Like from Season 7 to Season 8, there was absolutely no patch. There was no patch. The season ended. A week later, the new season began.
Yeah.
There was nothing. There was no patch, no announcements, nothing. The latest patch, even the latest patch didn't add anything. Like they made a few tweaks to balance, but nothing that changed the overall end game. They added 2 new legendaries, which people don't even use, and they had the whole anniversary thing for Diablo, where you could play Diablo 1 in Diablo 3. And that was it.
Yeah. Wow, what a treat.
Like, that was it. That was the patch for this season. That's all they did. Like, an anniversary event, 2 new legendaries that people don't use, a couple of bug fixes, some minor tweaks in balance that people don't even notice because nobody uses those skills even anyway. And that was it.
Yep.
Like, our mutual friend, Mr. Ling, he'll show up in the podcast eventually, I'm sure. He explained to me like Blizzard, Diablo's team is very small right now. When compared to stuff like World of Warcraft, even Heroes of the Storm, I think it's a very small team. But they used to add content to the game, and they don't anymore.
Yeah.
Like, there is a problem with the game. Maybe they're not aware of it, but it exists. Like, and most of that problem comes from not adding content to seasons. Like, you want to have a seasonal system, that's fine. It works for action RPGs. Path of Exile is the proof of this. But you need to. There needs to be reasons for people to play other than just we added 2 legendaries that people aren't going to use, and all of these quality of life improvements. Like the quality of life improvements is nice, but all it gets people to do is like, new season, you create a character. You create a character, you level it. The leveling process is boring.
Oh yes,
absolutely fucking terrible. Especially
I only play season if I have someone to power level me to 70.
Especially when you're if you start at level 1 with friends, like in a party of 3 or 4, oh boy, are you gonna have a bad time. Like holy shit. Like they boost your XP when you're in a party, but holy fucking shit, it's just so fucking boring leveling. That's terrible. That's your entire first impression of the game just fucking gone.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
imagine a new player like finishes the story, goes to adventure mode, which is basically where the rest of the game happens, right?
Mm.
Creates a seasonal character and like has to level all over again and then complete all these optional objectives that in the end just give them absolutely fucking nothing. And like and now imagine doing this 9 times in a fucking row. Like they're season 9 right now, and we're definitely gonna have a season 10. So holy shit. Like it's the leveling needs to improve. There needs to be more content to the game. It needs to be less repetitive, and even if it is repetitive, it needs to be repetitive in a fresh way.
Yeah.
Like you need to add like Path of Exile again, great example.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking I like it's fucking amazing how a very simple, small indie studio like Grinding Gears Games, which are the guys that made Path of Exile, are able to put out more content in less time than Blizzard does for Diablo 3.
Yeah.
But Path of Exile, like every season has its own mechanic.
Oh,
right now
really?
right now you're in the Breach League. And what breaches are like, sometimes when you're in a map, like a breach will spawn, and when you can activate it, and like it's like this gateway into the void, I guess, whereby like these bunch of abominations come up, and you need to kill them. And like the more you kill, the bigger the breach gets, and it starts to expand, and more mobs come pouring in, and you kill more, and that expands more. And like the more mobs you kill, the longer that stays open. That's the mechanic for this for that season, for that league in Path of Exile.
Yeah.
The previous one was essences. It basically like it spawned in the maps some frozen mobs that you then defroze, and then they drop these essences which you could use to improve an item. Like it would add an effect to an item, like bonus physical, bonus elemental, resist to this elemental, attack speed, plus movement speed, that kind of thing. There was a league that they added called Prophecy. Like mobs sometimes drop these silver coins that you would exchange in an NPC for a prophecy, and it's basically, the prophecies would be like, you will find this boss in an area, and the boss is going to drop this, or it would be something like, you are going to use this item on a random piece of gear, and it's going to turn into a unique, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's things that shake up the meta of the game completely, because it adds new mechanics to the game and all that. But in Diablo, a new season just means another character to level, Like, granted, it's also that for Path of Exile, right? But Path of Exile actually adds content. It adds variety. Like, it kind of gets a bit tiresome after, especially if you made multiple characters in the same season. But like, if you stick to one character in Path of Exile, I guarantee you will not be bored for many, many hours.
Yeah.
Like, and even the whole leveling thing that you're forced to do every season, like Path of Exile is going to fix in its next expansion.
Oh, really?
Like, they're going to revamp the entire early to mid game. They're going to remove all difficulties. They're going to add 6 new acts. So instead of just going through the game like 3 times, you're just going to do it once, and it's going to be longer, and it's going to be like, even though they're going to revamp previous areas, they're like, it's basically new content. There are new bosses, new enemies, all of that.
It's a different experience.
So like, a completely different experience, even if it's just revisiting old areas. And and Blizzard doesn't do that for Diablo 3. It's always the same process of leveling, and it's so boring. Leveling is so boring, and the rewards that you get aren't really that good. It's a shiny portrait, depending on how good you did in the journey. And most people just go for the first reward, which gives you the pet and the basic portrait, and that's it. I do that. I level up a character.
I do that too.
I do the basic reward tier, and I'm done with the season. I don't touch it anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's just boring.
Yeah.
And
boring.
and they need to add more content to it. The end game really needs to be better. There is no actual progression in the end game in Diablo 3. I mean, there is progression. You go through bigger, greater rifts, greater rift levels.
You upgrade your
Path of
gems,
Exile,
your legendary gems.
you upgrade your gems, and you get.
That's super boring though. Like,
yes, it's boring.
And Path of Exile, having to grind the rifts to get those, to upgrade those gems, and they have like chance to fail too when you upgrade, which is fuck off.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous. Like, my gem is level 66. I'm trying to upgrade it to 70. I do a level 70 greater rift. I complete it in time. I get 3 upgrades, and like 2 of them fail. Like, fuck off, man. Like, I don't want to do another level 70 just to get 1 more upgrade. That's tiresome. It's boring. Don't do that.
And sometimes I have like 90% chance to succeed. Fails twice.
And fail. Like, why is it not 100%? Like here's the thing. You want to have like an upgrade gem system, that's fine. I completely understand it. It adds a sense of progression to the game. I get it. But like, if I do a level 70 greater rift, I should be able to upgrade it to level 70 without having to worry about a random chance of failing. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why they did it, but come on, like, you get now, if you don't die in a greater rift, you get a total of 5 chances for upgrade. Like, I have had like 80% success chance and failed like 3 of them. Like, no, that's just bad design. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And like, but like, it ends up being no progression besides like just doing greater rifts of higher level. There's actually no, besides like this number that keeps that you keep climbing up. There's actually no progression to it. In Path of Exile, we have like the Atlas, where it's just like the Path of Exile has these maps which act as greater rifts. They're not timed, but you need to complete them by killing the boss in the map.
Okay.
And like, when you kill a boss in a map, depending on what tier the map is, like tier 1 to tier 15, which is the last one, like, you complete the Atlas, and the more you fill the Atlas, the more chances you have of getting maps that are of higher tier. You know?
Okay.
So you start at 0%, like, you only get maps of the same tier that you are currently doing, but then they start dropping off higher tier than that map the more you complete the objectives for that map. Like, it starts from being something like just kill the boss, to you need to kill the boss on the magic version of this map. And yes, you can enchant maps. They can have various affixes. Like, there are stuff like reflect elemental, reflect physical, monsters always critical strike, monsters have reduced damage from critical strikes, all monsters apply bleeding, all monsters apply burning. There is an aura for slow in the entire map. You know, like, this not only adds like difficulty to the maps, it also adds variety to them. Like, even if you go to the same map several times, it can always be a different version of that map. And I'm not talking just the layout, I'm talking like a different challenge, a completely different challenge. And you get a really nice sense of progression as like, you keep completing the Atlas, and it starts looking all pretty with all the images and all that. It starts looking very nice until you finally reach the end, where it's the Shaper boss, which is the last boss of the game. Like, if you do the Shaper, you are done with the game pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the best way. That's a good way to do the end game on an action RPG of that kind. And Diablo 3 doesn't do that. Diablo 3 just keep on climbing, see how far you're gonna get.
Yeah.
It gets boring after a while, and they really need to try harder on it, because they're not trying harder enough for Diablo 3.
Didn't they have like that end game sort of in Diablo 2?
I never got much into Diablo 2
because it was Uber Diablo. You just farm the recipes to open the. Was it a portal? You have to go to a specific place to find him, and I think, or you could just turn a mob into it. But the point is, Uber Diablo was sort of the Shaper boss in Path of Exile, or they did bow runs, I guess.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was that, like, you when you kill this specific boss, you know you're gonna get that you have a chance of getting this and that drop. Whereas if you just do greater rifts, you're just throwing dice out there, like RNG for all the things that exist, and it's just you're just gonna get random crap all the time.
Yeah, you need to collect Stones of Jordan.
Oh yeah, and
unique
sell
rings
them.
and sell them, and then like a message appears saying that Uber Diablo spawns.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
yeah,
That's true.
basically it's sort of like the Shaper. Well, you need to complete, you need to do other stuff.
But
There's
it is like a
there are more
ceiling.
Uber monsters. Yeah, but there are more Uber monsters in Diablo 3 and Diablo 2, and Diablo 3 doesn't have all these bosses, like
Yeah,
all these special
I
events
guess
that you
I
can
guess the
do
point
for
is of the end game is to have like a ceiling that you have to reach, but Diablo 3 does not have
Yeah,
that.
Diablo 3 does not have that. The Diablo 3 is just go as far as you can, and that's really fucking boring because like there's no progression to it. There's no sense of completion to it. And it's not like they and this feels like a repeat of the previous episode, but like it's not like they don't have the money. We're talking about Blizzard here.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Blizzard.
Like, come on.
How
Yeah.
how
So
many? I made like a little. Did they have like 12 million subscribers at most on WoW? The
at the moment,
highest?
there are
No,
at
the
the moment
highest, the peak.
oh, the peak was in No, the peak was actually now in Legion. I think. It reached. No, the peak was in Lich King. It was like 12 million subscribers at the time.
So is it like $15
Right now,
a month subscription?
yeah,
So
that depends on your subscription plan. But yes, pretty much $10 each month from
yeah, so
12
they were
million
making
people.
like 150
That's a small
million
country right there if paying
dollars
taxes, man.
per month. Per month they were
Yeah.
making that. I don't know how much of that is profit, because you have to maintenance costs, but
maintenance, and you need to pay your
I
programmers and all that.
yeah, that sounds like they have the money.
They have the dough. They definitely have the green stuff. They definitely are cash. Yes,
Yeah,
they're rich. That's what I'm saying.
they can
So
afford a few fixes on the game.
so yeah, and the necromancer is all nice and well, but it's not going to fix this problem. And so I really hope that they try very hard to make Diablo 3 an interesting game again. Because right now, trust me, if you want to buy Diablo, just install Path of Exile. Right now, as the game stands, like you can do it. You can play it for the story, and I guess you're going to get that. And I guess you could get your money's worth from it if you buy it on a sale from the story.
Isn't Path of Exile free?
It's completely free, which is even more amazing the more I think about it. Like,
oh, damn it! So if you want to play Diablo 3, play Path of Exile. Oh, that's beautiful.
If you want to play
Put that on the
Diablo
shirt.
3, just play Path of Exile. You're going to have a lot more fun.
Yeah.
The story is much more interesting.
Oh, speaking of that,
the end game is actually there.
We sort of have finished all the points that we were planned to talk about, but you mentioned story. I was not a fan of Diablo 3's story, and you mentioned Path of Exile has a better one.
Plot twist, neither did I.
Diablo, I don't know where did they drop the ball on the story.
Let's see. All the angels are idiots.
Yeah,
Leah is an idiot.
Leah is I don't know. I don't see her character is just so vanilla.
Her character is boring. She's there just for Diablo to appear.
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. She dies and she becomes Diablo, right? Because
she becomes Diablo, like Diablo goes inside her.
Well, Diablo's spirit existed inside her, I suppose, and it sort of
and then
emerged.
They merged together, like
And it's like, but couldn't you have made the person that would become Diablo more interesting? Like when Leah turned into Diablo, I'm like, oh, am I supposed to feel an emotional reaction from that?
No, fuck off.
Nope.
I didn't even care. Like the whole villains are retarded, like pants on head retarded. Asmodan no, not even Asmodan. Asmodan is an arrogant little idiot. Like Belial. Belial's a fucking idiot.
Like
Like
who didn't know he was the
he
emperor?
like he's the Lord of Lies, right?
He's a horrible liar.
He's like supposed to be this manipulative,
Yeah.
like kind of demon, like who can manipulate and deceive everyone. It's like, and he turns into a fucking little kid who is obviously fucking evil. And I'm like, are you supposed to be fooling anyone? Like, for fuck's sakes, man! It's obvious that it's you. You're fucking. The characters are so fucking bad. Like the the angels are fucking stupid. Even in the expansion, like Malthael is an idiot. Malthael is fucking retarded. Like, so all humans, like if you don't know this, all humans in Diablo universe are half angel, half demon.
Yes.
Right? That's their thing. So Malthael's like, we need to destroy all demons. Like, this is why the angels exist, to destroy demons. This makes sense, right? Okay, fine. It's the whole conflict, good versus evil. It's called the eternal conflict for a reason, right? Okay. So Malthael's logic is, wait, I can use this very powerful artifact, the Black Soul Stone, like where all the demon evils are stored, right? And I can use it to sap the demonic souls of everyone in the entire universe, demons and humans. This is going to kill all humans, and that's a shame, right? This is his logic. That's a shame. But hey,
did he say it was a shame, or was it
yes.
like no? He said like
he says
it's
no,
like good. They're dying because they have demon stuff in them.
Yes, his reasoning is the most fucking retarded shit I've ever heard in my life. It's like, oh, humans have the ability to do evil, therefore they are evil. That's the most fucking retarded shit I ever heard in my life. Like, I understand he's not supposed to be human and doesn't understand the whole morality of killing someone because, well, he's an angel. He can't fucking die. He's just reborn in fucking heaven, right? That's how they work.
I mean,
like, if an angel
his
is to die,
virtue is reborn, not him personally.
Yes, his virtue, not him. But like, if he dies, he's just reincarnated, quote unquote, right? But like, but it's the most retarded fucking He's the archangel of wisdom. Fucking wisdom. He's supposed to be wise, and his whole reasoning is, oh, those people have the ability to do good or evil. But wait, if they have the ability to do evil, then they must be evil.
I think after
what?
After Reign of Chaos, Blizzard just lost the ability to tell good stories. Like, or make compelling characters, for that matter.
Oh man, it makes no goddamn fucking sense, man. Because like, that's not a toddler. Fucking toddler would not think that way. But apparently, the Archangel of Wisdom does. Fuck that.
It's another reality. They're different.
The story's fucking retarded. The characters are all fucking dumb or idiots or both.
I didn't like the idea of that Adria was a bad guy. Because I played Diablo 1, and she was this like witch that would sell magic to you. She was all mysterious and she's like a recluse, right? And people despise her. People mistrust her because she's a witch.
Who would think that she was evil? I thought she was evil. It's obvious she was evil. Like, you see what she teaches Leah and all that, and
in Diablo 3 she is, but I didn't actually see her as I never actually saw her as this like super evil person. I always thought she was a good guy. But,
I never played Diablo 1, right? But I do know she was in Diablo 1, just like a vendor, I guess.
Yes.
And she reappears in Diablo 3, and from the moment you see her, you're like, this bitch fucking evil. And like, one act later, she betrays you. Of course she fucking betrays you. It's fucking obvious that she's evil. The way she talks, the way her character design is, the abilities she uses, like, everything points to that. And they think they're tricking you with this. They are literally insulting your intelligence. Come on. Those are not good characters. The only good character that actually exists in the entire game, I'd say, is Tyrael.
Oh god, Tyrael. I don't like that they made him human.
I also don't like that they made him human. Like, I understand the whole theme that they were going for with him, because there's this whole prophecy and all that, and it's a very interesting idea. Like him ripping his wings to become human. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, not to become human, just to become mortal.
Yes.
Right. That's interesting. That's very interesting, and I like the idea of it. I don't know. That part of him is interesting, but they never touch on it again. He then just he's just a guy who you save, and then he remembers he's an angel and he's all badass, and you learn of what he did to get he banished himself, and that's very interesting and all that. And then but then he just doesn't do anything else for the rest of the game. And in Act 4, he just becomes this whiny little emo kid that just goes like, "Oh no, I released Diablo." Like, come on, come on, snap out of it. You're the fucking angel of justice. Come on, do something.
Yeah. But
it's just
we both agree that the story is okay. This is something that I wanted to do for quite a while now. I wanted to write an alternative story, and it includes the Amazons.
I just realized I said, sorry for interrupting, but I just realized I said that the story wasn't that good, and I had said that if you wanted to play Diablo for the story, I guess you'd get your money's worth. I'm going to go ahead and just. I never said that. That's not true.
You retconned yourself.
I'm going to retcon myself and just say, you know what? If it's not on sale, don't buy Diablo. Just don't. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Play Path of Exile, I suppose.
Just play. Yes, play Path of Exile.
I'm not going to play Path of Exile because I already invested so much time in Diablo 3. But if I could, I probably would go back. I'm busy. I can't play two different action RPGs.
I know, but you
should
give it a try.
Qualify as RPGs?
Yes, they are action RPGs. They have RPG mechanics with action combat. So I guess they are action RPGs.
It doesn't sound like RPG to me, but whatever.
Yeah. It's a matter of perspective, really.
Well, to me, RPG includes like choices and dialogue and shit like that.
Well, yeah, I guess.
But what about Path of Exile? Just quickly touch on the story. Not necessarily
touch on the story.
Tell the story.
Well,
I don't know.
The world is brutal. The characters are interesting. The way that the lore is introduced is interesting. The lore is very interesting, even. All characters have the very interesting background, except I guess the Marauder. He's just like a guy who was where he wasn't.
I played as the witch when I was playing.
The witch is interesting. The witch is fucking evil. Like, none of the characters in Diablo are evil. Like, the witch in Path of Exile is like, they wanted to kill me, so I killed them and their sons and burned the entire village.
Good.
Come on, that's interesting.
Yeah, but speaking of interesting characters, I will give Diablo this. I found their description of the wizard not necessarily fascinating, but like very intriguing, because in Diablo 2, at the end of Diablo 2, Tyrael destroys the World Stone, which was suppressing the Nephilim potential within humans. Having done that, this potential is no longer going to be suppressed. So, doesn't that mean that humans that are going to be born will be born as Nephilims?
Yes, eventually.
So, in Diablo lore, the wizard is actually the only character who's young enough to be a Nephilim, because the Worldstone was destroyed 20 years ago. She's 19.
Oh.
So she was born 1 year after the Worldstone blew up, which makes her technically makes her the only viable Nephilim. Possible.
Well,
Nephilim.
they are all Nephilim.
I know, but sort of like lore-wise.
No, yes and no, because it's like the Worldstone was there to suppress the Nephilim powers.
Yes, but it didn't suppress Nephilim powers when it was built. It was suppressing the consequent generations.
Yes, but No, there are Nephilim ghosts that say, the world stone has been changed, we're losing our power, and our children are being born weak. Because it's like it's suppressing their powers, but
I guess you can interpret this in two ways. Like, we're losing our power in the sense that our children are being born weaker than we are, which is how they say. I guess it's up to interpretation, but for me, technically, the wizard is the only Nephilim.
Well, technically, yes, because he, whatever, was born.
The wizard is a she. I don't. He's a he. What? Nope. No, never saw that. Doesn't exist.
Okay.
I refuse. I generally play as male characters, but
the wizard whenever is. Whenever I make a character in Diablo, I just go for the lore choice.
Yeah, for me, the wizard was.
Demon Hunter is female, wizard is female, monk is male, barbarian is male, witch doctor is male.
I actually really enjoyed the female characters in Diablo, except strangely for the demon hunter. I went for the male demon hunter because I thought the female one was a bit too bimbo.
Okay.
She came off as too I don't know, unreal, I guess. I don't know. But the wizard for me is a she. But just read the backstory on the Diablo 3 website, and she's just so she's this powerhouse that just fuck your rules and I'm gonna do what I want, and she has the power to do what she wants. And I find this that's interesting. I would like to know more.
Unfortunately, they never give you more.
Yeah, you're supposed to play as her, I suppose. But anyway, Path of Exile. Characters are interesting.
Characters interesting, story is interesting, the lore is very interesting. Especially when you start going into Act 4. It's great. And if you're one of those people who complained about Diablo 3 not being dark enough, I sort of agree with you. You should definitely try Path of Exile. That shit knows what grim dark is.
Yep.
There are mutilated bodies, there are grotesque abominations, there are hellish landscapes. Definitely. If you want a Diablo-like experience, don't buy Diablo 3. Go for Path of Exile. The combat might be a bit clunkier than what Diablo 3 has, but oh boy, does it make up for it.
Well, and with that, I suppose we should finish. Oh well, God, we talked way too much. Again,
we like to ramble on. This is Spellbound. Have fun editing this.
Yes, definitely.
Have fun.
Again, we social media. All the links are going to be in the description below. Whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on YouTube, or on SoundCloud, or on the website actually, Ludumism.com.
You should go to the website.
Yep, there are plenty of articles on there. I don't
probably add it to your favorites.
Yes, I don't know if the RSS feed is working yet. I should get onto that. The website is mostly I don't do news. I don't do all that stuff. I basically talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. I guess. I try to keep it consistent. There was a dry spell before the podcast started. Mostly New Year stuff, preparing for stuff, work. But yeah, again, if you've enjoyed this, share with your friends. If you have suggestions of the topics that you would like us to talk about,
do let us know. We are very open to ideas. Please.
Yes. This is
it's not like we don't have many ideas.
We have stuff planned out, but.
Oh yeah, but we would like to hear what everyone else is thinking.
Yeah, many minds are better than two. So
yes, so share it, share it with family, friends, be annoying, and let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about what we talked about. Do you think Diablo 3 is a good game? Do you agree with the changes that we would like to see implemented? Do you play Path of Exile? Add me on Steam and we can play together. Anyway. Well, anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. See you around. You guys have fun.
Yep.
And we'll both see you for the next episode.
Next fortnight, I think we're doing this every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
we're trying
to do this every two.
Yeah, for the time being, we're trying to do this 2 weeks. Yep, 2 weeks. So I guess see you in 2 weeks then.
See you in 2 weeks. I'm the Powerhead, the co-host of the Spellcast, and he is Spellbound, the host and our Lord and Master.
Where's my crown? I misplaced it. Goodbye.
Well, see you around.
Bye.